It is once again my favorite time of year, and there's just something special about the Steam Summer Sale. I know it happens only once a year, fairly obviously, but out of all the sales that happen almost every 3-ish months or so, I think the summer one is consistently has been my favorite. I just feel like I've always gotten some of the best deals. That and the winter sale have always been consistently fantastic. I don't know, spring and autumn never really hit the same. I don't know if it's because it's the time of year, but I don't know, I never really pick anything up at those times. But I figured, since it's that time again, let's talk about my top 5 games you should pick up for your Steam Deck this summer sale. Starting off with probably one of the most interesting things on this list, and one of the more expensive titles, Call of Duty World War II. For $20, honestly, this is probably one of my favorite Call of Duties of all time, which honestly might be a hot take, but from the way the game looks is still stunning to this day. Being able to maintain a solid 60 FPS on Steam Deck and being one of the few Call of Duties you can actually run in Linux without running into any issues, it's frankly an incredible experience. And being able to play the campaign, which is one of my favorite Call of Duty campaigns we've ever had, it has one of the best stories, one of the best overall just mission-to-mission gameplay. Has been one of my favorites, and since it runs such amazingly on the Steam Deck, I would highly recommend anybody who wants that gritty World War II shooter experience on the Steam Deck. This is one of the best ways to achieve that. Do bear in mind, this is an incredibly violent game, and it does touch on some themes, and you do go to a concentration camp, which some might argue wasn't done especially well in this game, but I think it was okay. It could have been better, and the whole situation could have been dealt much better, especially since, if I remember correctly, one of the characters literally ends up in a concentration camp. It's a whole thing. I don't want to spoil any more of the story than I probably already have. Just go play it with an asterisk that it might not be for everybody, especially since it is a very old Call of Duty game at this point. The next game I would highly recommend you go check out is Borderlands 3, especially because the 4th game in the franchise is supposed to be coming out this September, if I remember correctly, and you can get Borderlands 3 for a whopping $3. You can experience the entire base game, and I believe for an extra $10 or $15, you can get every single one of their expansions. I'm not necessarily including expansions in this list, but for $3, it's hard to beat the base campaign for that price. It is a fantastic game. Story is a little lacking, but it runs decently well on the Steam Deck, and I'm sure it runs significantly better in comparison to the version that you can play on the Nintendo Switch. That version came out a couple of years ago. It's impressive that it can run at all, but the Steam Deck just runs it way better, bar none. As I mentioned before, it is a rather lackluster story, but the gunplay is fantastic. The grindable loot is also amazing, and just how long and at least tolerable and in just generally at a base level of enjoyment is a great time, and for $3, it's hard to complain. The next game on our list is Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. You can currently get this game for $4 off the Steam Summer Sale, and I'll be honest, this game makes me feel like I'm terrible at video games. I struggled with this game, and I don't know if it's just because I'm terrible at platformers or if it's just how frustrating this game can be, but it's frustrating in the same way that Dark Souls is frustrating. Like, you'll die and die and die, but then it will click and it's perfect. It's that classic video game level of difficulty, especially since this is a remastering of the first 3 Crash Bandicoot games. And for $4, 3 whole video games for the price of 1 that is on sale is hard to argue with. It is a great time, visually stunning, especially on the Steam Deck, and it's just a great experience overall. It's a very classic game. It's a remastering of the first 3 Crash Bandicoot games originally released on the PS1 back in the 90s. And they were fun then, and they're incredibly fun now. And this is one of the best remakes we've ever seen. It was such well-crafted and overall just incredibly fun experience, though can be incredibly frustrating at times. I would highly recommend it to be one of the games you pick up on your Steam Deck this summer sale. Our second to last game is rather interesting. primarily because I've talked about it before. Battlefront II can be had for $4, and this might not necessarily be for everybody, but the servers are coming back swinging, and honestly, it is an incredibly fun game. Runs fairly decently on the Steam Deck while still looking really good, and it's just so much fun. Whether it's the campaign, any of the multiplayer, co-op, it is just hands down one of the best games I have ever played. Though originally launching in a fairly terrible state, and then getting a pseudo revival back in 2020 with the release of the Celebration Edition, then it just abruptly getting cut off by EA, not even a year after that, and the game has been practically dormant for the last 5 years. And seeing the whole community come back together in play Battlefront 2 ever since May the 4th, it has been a tremendous experience being able to play this game once again. So this is my attempt to do something for the cause, to get more people to play this game, and hopefully get EA to acknowledge it in some way. Get Lucasfilms or Disney to notice us, because we desperately want Battlefront 3, whether that's 5 or even 10 years from now. Or even something as simple as just spinning up production on the live service side of things for Battlefront 2. It'd just be a massive amount of fun to see that come back. And for $4, it's an incredible experience. I would highly recommend anybody who wants to try this out even to get it for $4, play it for 2 hours. If it wasn't your thing, return it. Hard to argue because it's only $4. Before we get to number 1, there's some honorable mentions. Games that usually end up on this list, but I refrained this time because it was getting a little repetitive and I wanted to dip outside of my traditional list format structure. So some honorable mentions. Elden Ring is of course one of the best games on Steam Deck, and it runs well enough to the point where I can't complain, but it does kind of look like hot booty water at this point in comparison to some other PC handhelds out there these days. So it's great, but play at your own risk sort of thing now. Next, Vampire Survivors. This game is usually pretty cheap most of the time, so I felt like it wasn't necessary to put it on this list, but it's an incredibly fun indie title, and just go check it out. It's pretty simple concept-wise, and you probably have heard of it by now. And of course, my last honorable mention, Stardew Valley. It usually tops this sort of list, but I figured that everybody knows about Stardew Valley already. They don't need another person recommending it, because honestly at this point, if you've watched my videos before, you probably own Stardew Valley at this point. So as for number 1, we are doing Lies of P. You can currently get this for $30, making it the most expensive game on the list. But amongst them, it is some of the newest and most premium title. For those of you who have that Bloodborne itch that simply won't go away because Sony refuses to port the darn thing to PC or make a sequel, this is the game for you. For me personally, I made it about halfway through before forgetting about it, then coming back around eventually. But it was an incredibly fun experience, and it runs decently well on the Steam Deck, and it's quite an enjoyable experience. And for those of us who had sort of stopped playing Souls games right after Elden Ring, this was one of the games that got me back into it and ready for Night Rain when that came out. I know they're not the same thing, but like, it got me back into wanting to play Souls games. Other than that, I would love to hear what you guys think. Did you buy any of the games on this list? Have you bought anything else that wasn't on this list that I talked about? I would love to hear what you guys are getting down below. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. All the other social media garbage down below. And last but not least, have a wonderful day.